Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome to this live reading session with me, Hannah, your astrologer. So I am just going to wait to see if anybody joins this session. It's a Tuesday. I don't think I've ever went live on a Tuesday, so this could go either way. But we'll see. We will see who joins, who is interested in a live reading, and if you are interested, the instructions are down below. I'll just continue to wait. Oh, okay, we do. We have someone who has booked in, actually. Amazing. Thank you so much. Yes, we have Shay. Welcome, Shay. Welcome back. I hope you're doing good if you're there. Give me a moment and I will enter in your information. Okay. How are we doing today? Tuesday. Still Mercury retrograde, everyone. And we have the full moon coming this Saturday. Let me see. I just need to be patient and look info. Yeah. I am not looking at the chat right now because I'm entering in Shay's info. So bear with me. Bear with me. It's this one. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Got you. Okay, time. England. Okay, interesting. Interesting. All right, let's have a look here for you, Shay. Oh, okay. Hi. Hello. So, hi, Shay. Welcome. Hi. And hi, Danielle. I hope you are both doing good. Happy Tuesday. Okay, well. Very, very strange behavior. So what we're just going to do is block you. Oh, that's easy. Yeah, we can block people who are rude. Sorry, but yeah, sorry, not sorry. And yes, I am, Shay. I'm going to do a live reading session all about the full moon in Aquarius. So that's either going to be on Friday or Saturday. I have created a poll. So whichever day works. Let me even just check the poll to see where we're at with it right now. Let's see. Let me have a look at posts. Oh, it's a tie right now. It's 50-50. Interesting. Anyway, I am now gonna get your chart, Shay, and then I need to obviously look to transits. So give me a moment. And it's on the 9th of September. Got it. Perfect. Let's grab that. Let's save this. And go here. Thank you for being so patient with me. Much slower. Maybe it's a Mercury retrograde thing, where, maybe Mercury retrograde can highlight that it actually is moving. It's the same, but it just feels like it's slower. Or maybe it literally is that it takes me a little bit longer to really focus. And I suppose that is another manifestation. Okay. Let me see here. Hi, welcome to, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Abhishek. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, and I apologize if I'm not. And let me have a look here. Jessica, that's no problem, Jessica. I have your info. Grand, great. And sure, let me know what your question is. If it's something that you want to keep more private, you can always email me, hannahselsewhere@outlook.com. And I am now going to present Shay's chart. We have a few people who are booking today on this lovely Tuesday. Yes, so Shay is first. If I even just jot down in order, we've got Shay first. It's always good to get everybody in at the beginning. Then we have Jessica. Let me see. Next, just checking your info here. Tundi. I hope I am pronouncing your name correctly. Tundi, we have you. Tundi. Yeah. And Shay, let me just double check everything for you, Shay. I want to make sure. Yep, England, delays, anything good, things like that. Okay, right, great. And thank you very much, Tundi, for submitting. Thank you, Jessica, as well. I'll even jot down your question here because the chat goes on, it continues. Job offer. Okay. And hello, Ed. Welcome to you, Ed. I am curious, just quickly here, Jessica, with your question. Is I'm assuming you've already interviewed for this job. I'm assuming that. Right. Let me lock in. Let me lock in and focus on Shay's reading. And as I always do here, whenever I am trying to focus my energy on the chart, I do not look at the chat. And welcome to Dollface. Welcome to you. And I'm glad, Tundi, that I am pronouncing your name correctly. That is always good. Yes, so I will not be looking at the chat anymore, folks. So if you have anything else for me, give me a moment. I need to focus on Shay's reading. So 9th of September, travel plans, England, anything good. All right. Well, the first thing I am going to say about this is that, well, good news. There's good news here because Mercury will then be in Virgo at the time and will no longer be retrograde, will be even out of the shadow, the post shadow as well. And Mercury will also be in the 7th house for you of relationships. So we could look at this as a bit of a green light when we think about, your travel plans. But then again, maybe what's also important to keep in mind is what you bring. So, what's beneficial in this way about Mercury and Virgo is you may feel more like you have everything in order. So, this may not necessarily just be like a physical thing where outside circumstances are a bit more aligned. This can also manifest as you then thinking through, okay, what's the list, right? Mercury and Virgo, of course, Mercury is exalted in Virgo, and especially with it being Virgo season at the time, we will be coming into this season of organization and just being more efficient, more tuned into the things that we need to do. And there could be a smoother plan, right? So I imagine this, for example, as you being able to pack what you need and to prepare. So yes, quite beneficial on the day. And what we also see for you, Shay, is the ruler of your ninth house. So the ninth house is the house of long distance travel. I often think about the ninth house as representing the kind of person we are whenever we do travel abroad. So, because Mars will be in Libra at the time and it will be applying to Pluto whilst you're away, I think that this trip that you mentioned that you're going on, it's going to be pretty eye-opening. It's going to be rather transformative for you, especially because you already have Uranus in the ninth house. So there could be some kind of awakening moment or an enlightening moment or many, especially within relationships, is what I'm picking up on. And to further add to this, we also notice that Mercury, so the transit Mercury is, I would say, close enough to making that trine to, let me see here, the natal, yeah, to your natal Venus in Capricorn. This is interesting. I wonder about traveling for friendship purposes or with friends. I wonder about the pleasure and the enjoyment that you're going to get from this trip or the community feel. I also wonder about all of the practical things and how you might possibly put yourself in charge of the trip. Maybe it's you that's having to kind of manage things. And, you're a Capricorn, your sun is in Capricorn, and hey, your moon's also in Cancer. So perhaps you often find yourself being the one who is maybe taking care of others or being the responsible one, or you're the one who is making the plans, etc. However, equally, I think what's important to know, let me look to the North Node a second. So, yes, the North Node in Pisces, and let me see. Yeah, the sun. Okay, so the sun will be very close then to the South Node in Virgo. Right, right. This is also an opportunity for you to be able to perhaps let go a little bit, maybe unwind. Escapism. There's something about this trip that might help you get out of your head or might help you relax. Or it can be some indulgence when we think about fantasy. And to me, this makes sense because there is that quality, I think, to travel. That makes total sense. When we go to different destinations and countries, it's like a whole other world, and it can be like a form of escapism. So in this regard, maybe this trip will tap into this part of you, and maybe a part of you will enjoy that. Then again, maybe a part of you will feel a bit like, oh my gosh, I'm not really used to this. I wonder about you. I wonder, I wonder, is it that there are times whenever you get quite homesick? And maybe because this trip is so far away to where you're from, maybe there's a part of it where you might miss family back home, or you might experience the homesickness, especially because you have your moon in Cancer there. But hey, I think at the same time, there's still this desire within you, there's still this excitement. Let me also think about how Neptune itself is in Sagittarius. So travel is like a whole thing for you. It's a whole experience. You see it as a way to broaden your horizons. You see it as major blessings and opportunities. Hey, what's coming through here is you're the type of traveler who you must center yourself. You must pray or do some kind of spiritual routine when it comes to travel. And a big part of this too, even, is about guidance, listening to your inner guide. So I am thinking, especially because of Mercury in particular, there is this, it's like a smooth process where things feel a bit aligned. Now, having said that, we are still in a Mercury retrograde now, and then Mercury will continue through Leo over the next coming weeks and will be in that post shadow period. So maybe what would be a beneficial thing for you to do is to go over what your plans are, or to maybe double check the flight information, or the details, contracts, agreements, things like that. Because seeing as it is a Mercury retrograde right now, I do wonder about what could possibly be going on with certain documents and things. But because you're able to maybe just double check, that will give you a peace of mind. I'm not saying that things are changed, but I'm just trying to highlight giving you a peace of mind, because then that way you will be able to relax. Okay, let me see if there's anything else I wish to bring up here. Well, where's Jupiter? Jupiter is 19 degrees at the time. Yeah, and then Mercury won't be far away from creating a sextile to Jupiter. Well, there we go. Whilst you're away, that sextile will happen between the 5th and the 7th houses. To me, what this suggests is pleasure, fun, enjoyment. And another thing is, and maybe this is one of the most important things, is the fact that transit Venus will be in Leo. It will be in Leo at the time. And it will just be passing this opposition to your natal Mars and Mercury. So before the trip, I imagine you possibly, right, there could be maybe a fear. I wonder about any fears that could come up for you. I wonder about potential fears even of flying or traveling that far. But actually, because Venus will be in Leo, there's something about you reminding yourself, yes, I can do this. It's like being your own cheerleader, hyping yourself up, or maybe, being able to express, verbalize what your fears are, and then kind of going, this is not rational, right? Like, this is not rational. And I'm kind of picking up on how Mars, the very ruler of your ninth, so Mars is in Aquarius and it's conjunct Mercury. So maybe there is something here with you. I do wonder, Shay, do you have a fear of flying? I do wonder. And even if you don't, I wonder if in the past maybe you did, and like it's something that you've worked through over the years. Whatever the case may be, I do think that Venus in Leo kind of speaks to some healthy confidence and reminding yourself that you can do this, right? And then also looking at it as an experience, looking at this trip as something that you're going to have fun doing, right? You're going to have fun being a part of it, or you can focus on enjoyment, focus on what it is that really, speaks to your joy. Okay, so that was your mini reading. Shay, thank you so much. Let me have a look here. Oh, you've had so many delays with trying to plan it. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because Mercury is still retrograde and will still be in the post shadow period. So I can kind of get, that. That's interesting. Right. Okay. So flying is more tied to your dreams, that 12th house influence. Okay. I see. Yeah. Yeah. The 12th house can be about our dreams. Well, you know what? Good luck with applying to become a flight attendant. I mean, fingers crossed for you, and sounds amazing. And I hope you have a really great trip. Okay, let's now move on to the next person. Jessica. Give me a moment, please, Jessica, so I can put in your info. Okay. So, okay. Actually, hold on. Let's do this one. Yeah. So, yep. Okay. Yes, thank you so much, Shay. Great. And thank you for providing your feedback. It's always good to get feedback, and then I learn from every chart I read. So it's always useful. So, Jessica, you have been applying and no interviews yet. Okay, I hear you. Okay. So you're currently applying for jobs and things. Give me a moment, please, so I can read your chart. Okay. So, something that I'm noticing here about your chart, and just to make it clear, everyone, I will not be looking at the chat whilst I read Jessica's chart. But something that I'm noticing here is this Saturn retrograde, Neptune retrograde, making squares to the midheaven point. So, I can kind of get this delayed response, especially when we think about employment and when we think about certain qualifications and skills. I'm curious about the kinds of jobs you have been applying for. Is it, for example, that you've been applying for certain roles that you feel you are more than qualified for, but you're not getting responses? Or is it that maybe you could do with reevaluating your resume, reevaluating what you put on your resume, and maybe how you can stand out to certain employers? I'm just trying to think about this practically, realistically, especially through this lens of leadership, right? So I'm going to you potentially applying for leadership roles or feeling this call to want to apply for leadership roles. And hey, you have an Aries rising. So this Aries rising influence suggests to me that you're someone who is daring enough to put yourself out there. You're daring enough to go for certain positions, to apply for certain jobs and titles, right? So yes, leadership is really coming through here. Member of authority is coming through here, but then equally the delays with relation to certain members of authority and companies um and businesses, things like that. So my my way to look at this, especially because Saturn is still retrograde in Aries and will continue to be until the beginning of September, well, end of August, beginning of September. My way of looking at this is a time of review. It's a time of really reevaluating what it is that you want long term. See, it could be a case of needing to wait a bit longer. It could be a case of applying for more roles. Or this could also be about, like I was saying earlier, maybe looking over what it is that you are applying for and how your skills match those very things. Even Neptune retrograde there equally can indicate, on one hand, this type of idealism, this optimism too, I would suggest. But then again, it can also possibly suggest this sort of, I'm not sure what is happening. It feels a bit confusing. And even this Neptune energy is, well, Saturn too, they're both making squares to your natal Neptune. And your natal Neptune is in Sagittarius. So I am going to say here that with this suggests, okay, like, don't give up hope. Look at this as, okay, there are plenty of opportunities out there. It's just a case of to keep trying and to keep, thinking about, okay, how you can maybe bring expertise, your expertise, your qualifications to the forefront. But let me think about this a little bit further. I want to explore more. What else is happening for you? Mercury, news, Jupiter. Well, here's another thing. Mercury is currently retrograde and will turn direct on the 11th of August. No, yeah, August. August. And Mercury does rule your third house, and the third house is the house of communication. So this could very well literally manifest as these delays that you talk about, that you mention, right? And what will happen over the next coming weeks is Mercury will turn direct and will make squares to this Saturn influence, this Mercury influence. So we do see the part of this that suggests the stress, the worry, and maybe the intensity surrounding the delays, right? But then what I'm also picking up on is how Mercury will eventually move into your sixth house by, let me have a look at the dates of when Mercury actually moves into Virgo. Give me a moment because there's more to this. Stay with me, bear with me. Mercury in Virgo. Mercury in Virgo. Mercury in Virgo. Okay, the 2nd of September. Yeah. Interesting. So Saturn, right, that Saturn retrograde in Aries will move, it will shift into Pisces, right? So Saturn will move into Pisces. And then when that shift happens, basically the next day, Mercury will come into Virgo. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to try and break this down and kind of communicate this in a way that makes sense. What we have been experiencing over the summer is a lot of energetic change, equally a lot of having to slow down and process that very energetic change due to a lot of planets changing signs over the past months, okay, few months. But you see, what's going to happen is when we come into September, into Virgo season, and Virgo season begins from the 23rd of August. What's going to happen is eclipse season will be here, and so there will be a lot of movement. So for you on a personal level here, Jessica, there will be so much activation in your sixth house of work. Mercury, your planet of communication, will go into that sixth house of work. Venus, your planet of money, right? Your planet of money will move into your sixth house. Let me see when that will happen. Yeah, the 19th of September. So yes, September time. I am really thinking September could be a major transitional month for you, where there could be some significant news, a significant push. You're seen, you're valued. What's coming through here is know your worth. Yeah. This is about you being humble to an extent. Yes, there's a calming, kind humility to Virgo, but because you already have Chiron in Gemini in the third house, don't let these thoughts that tell you that maybe you're not good enough, or what do you know, or no one listens to you, or they try to shut you down. Don't let those thoughts consume you or dictate to you the next step forward, right? I want you to even try and draw from this Venus and Sagittarius influence within you and say, no, I'm gonna keep thinking positive about this. I know I can do this. And charm their socks off, right? You've got your moon in Libra. When it comes to employers, business, interviews, all those kinds of things, remember your moon in Libra is a gift, right? Because you can charm pretty much anyone. And you can do this in a really kind, thoughtful way, in a way where you can recognize other people quite well, their qualities, their attributes. And so this is about you showing up in this way, but then also dressing in such a professional manner too, I think. Possibly even bringing some level of wit and being quite, yeah, being quite witty and like banterful with employers within interviews to an extent too, because you do have Venus in Sagittarius making a sextile to Libra. So all in all, what I'm trying to get at here is it might feel like over the next coming weeks that it's quite slow, but you can be proactive, right? You can be proactive during that time. And what you can do is you can really ask yourself, right, okay, what are my qualifications? What are my skills? What am I really good at? And I think you're someone who possesses many professional skills, organizational skills. I mean, you've got Jupiter conjunct Mars in Capricorn. Like, if someone is to be assigned the assignment, the project, if someone is to be in charge of the team, it's you. Like, it's you. So I think this is about you being able to see that you have more than enough to offer. And then it's about really presenting that to potential employers. And then come Virgo season, I do see those interesting shifts, right? There could be some significant shifts and changes that occur for you. Yeah. So good luck to you, Jessica. And of course, I can't really say that like on this day you're definitely going to get a job offer. That's not really what I'm about. I'm here to guide, you know. I'm here to guide, and I hope what you can take away from this is encouragement and, like seeing that you have what it takes. Because I'm not here to tell you that you're completely doomed. That's not my job. Thank you so much, Jessica. I hope that was helpful. Product manager, 200. Wow. Wow. Okay. That you have experience, but not more than 4 years as a product manager. Jessica, yeah, I mean, right now, just in general, what I have seen, even astrology to the side, like to be real with you, it's hard out there for a lot of people, right? It is hard out there for a lot of people. And you're not alone. You're not alone in this. I see it time and time again. And people are feeling the pressure. We are like, to be quite frank, we are in really difficult times, right? We think about money issues, pressures when it comes to work, but still, I think that with the Virgo energies coming up, Pisces, the eclipse season that we're coming into for you and how that is activated within your chart, it's so much about work. So yeah, I wish you all the best and good luck. Thank you so much, Jessica. Right. So now, Tundi, let's explore your chart. Tundi, I need, if you are there, please. I see that you are on yours. Oh, one moment, because I need to look at what's your date of birth? I need your birth month and your birthday. I need that because I don't have it in the form. Please and thank you. Okay. Have it. Thank you very much. 19 March 1987. Hi, Alexander. How are you doing today? Welcome to you. Okay. Let me have a look here at the chat. Tundi. Oh, what happened there? What? Did it not work? Why did that not work? Are we good? Okay. Right. So, context: freelancing, design, tech. Recruiters started interviewing you for full-time roles. You're unsure if you should do full-time freelancing or become an entrepreneur. Okay, let me take note of this. So, full-time, freelance, entrepreneur. Okay, bear with me. I'm going to also look up your human design. I'm also going to check this poll a moment. Let's see. Oh, it's still 50-50. Interesting. Okay. Hey, I guess that means that will give me some more wiggle room. Hello to D. Yes. Yes, I am still accepting bookings for this one, for this session. So the instructions are down below if you would like to book. Thank you. And Anna, welcome to you. Oh, you've got the same birthday as Tundi. Nice. Okay, give me a moment, please. 9. Yeah. I think. Okay. Oh, I need to type that in. Okay. Interesting. Let's see. Give me a second and I am now going to explore your chart, Tundi, and I will help guide you to the best of my ability. Okay, first thing here, very, very interesting to see that Pluto is right up there with the midheaven. And I often notice with this particular combination that people who possess it can really go for a long time when it comes to work, when it comes to their profession. And they can possess a lot of stamina, a lot of endurance, especially whenever we notice that Mars, so the very ruler of Scorpio, Mars is in Taurus. So there is this endurance you possess, such a determination I see this as you being someone who is able to follow things through until completion, provided there is an incentive, provided there is some kind of financial support or like a financial gain. And I also see this as you taking on a lot, like taking on a lot professionally and being seen as that person who can do that, right? And to me, this suggests roles and titles and positions that are pretty full on, pretty intense. So, what I am going to mention here, right, when you asked about full time freelance, being an entrepreneur, what is pretty clear to me, it is your energy. It's your energy levels, it's your drive, it's your leadership abilities, your leadership skills. But equally, this to me is about what you really enjoy, what speaks to you, what speaks to you physically, what speaks to you on more of a physical level, right? When we think about even your body and the things that even light you up inside, because Mars, it is in Taurus, but it's also in the fifth house. And the fifth house, it is about our joy. It's about the things that really make us happy. So to me, what this indicates is that what can often bring you joy is seeing maybe a certain project through until completion, seeing it be really successful, or especially seeing the impacts that that project has on other people. Yeah, because even the moon, right? The moon is in the 11th house and it's in Scorpio. So this could be where you take on roles where you can help transform the lives of others, or maybe it's seeing how your role can help change people, change them from the inside out. You can speak to people on more of this psychological, deeper level. So, all in all, I do see that you get so much from making a difference, making a difference within other people's lives, particularly whenever we look to how Neptune is making this sextile to the midheaven. You've got Neptune conjunct the ascendant in Capricorn. So there is a compassionate side to your personality, and that's often what you project outwardly. You project this person, this identity of being really thoughtful and you attentive, you listen to other people, you want to solve problems for other people. You don't just sit around and wait for things to pass or wait for things to be sorted on their own. It's you that actively jumps in and you want to help and you want to serve. And you're going to do this in really responsible ways because this is the Capricorn influence. You asked about this entrepreneurial spirit, and I see it. Like, I see it within you. But what I also see within you is a big part of you that needs freedom as well. So, to me, it's so interesting because I could say to you that, yeah, the entrepreneur path, but then I could also say to you this freelancing path, because that freelancing path could maybe provide you with more flexibility, or it could provide you with different opportunities that aren't necessarily, glued to a certain role or a project or a title. And I do think that there is a part of you that is very adventurous. There's a part of you that really wants to explore and roam and and have that freedom. And that part of you can often even feel like it's hidden or it's sort of locked away, but perhaps over the years, throughout your life, you've really connected with these parts of you. So Indeed, I think innovation is a big part of your path. I think creativity is also a big part of your path. Even the North Node and Jupiter are both in Aries. They're both in Aries. So to me, this just speaks to your leadership spirit, your pioneering spirit. Whatever you do, you're going to innovate the space. Whatever you do, you could very well be the first of your kind to do it. And you're also going to be able to bring your gifts of diplomacy and tact and getting along with other people. You're going to be able to bring those skills with you on your journey. Maybe this, for example, for you, Tundi, could be about more so working from home, or it's that you take your work on the road with you, you literally travel with your work. Or, it could be about sharing your wisdom, sharing your knowledge of leadership skills, of business, sharing that knowledge to others, with others, supporting other people, maybe supporting certain families, or maybe helping people with property or real estate. Right, there could be something there about family dynamics and housing, is what I'm trying to get at. And because Mars is in the fifth house, I do get the creativity, the creative edge you possess, maybe especially when it comes to things that help connect you with your body, help ground you in the present. I'm thinking about certain health products you can offer others. I'm thinking about your sales abilities, your ability to speak pretty effectively with others and get them to believe in your message, to believe in a dream. Um, I'm also thinking about your skills to do with people and thinking outside of the box and thinking ahead, right? You're constantly thinking ahead into the future and seeing, for example, what isn't being catered to within the market, right? Where is there maybe a gap in the market, and how can that gap be how can it be useful, right? How can it be filled? And then you're going to think about more of a steady practical plan to make it happen. And a couple more things I think to say is, with your Pisces influence, Mercury's in Pisces, the sun is in Pisces. What a receptive combination. Pisces can be so good with people, very good at kind of mirroring people, being receptive to other people's emotions, being empathetic. And this can be a part of your strength, a part of your gift. Now, having said that, the sun is making a square to Uranus. And so this again, it speaks to, and I think this is something to remember, it speaks to your desire to want to break free as well. So maybe all in all, what I'm trying to get at here is, whatever you decide, you have the stamina, you have the will, you have the discipline to do it, right? To do that role, to commit to it, to be responsible. But just remember this other part of you that is seeking to not have to do it, right? There's another part of you that is seeking to be able to flow a bit more, or to be able to be quite spontaneous and take a risk every now and then. Just go, right, okay, I'm doing it, right? A bit of freedom in my life. Hey, I'm sure there's a way to figure out how to sort of get a bit from both, right? To appreciate the best of both worlds. Thank you so much, Tundi. But that was yours. Okay, let me see. Right, let me have a look here. Okay, yep. So we have Fola. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you for booking. And then we have Drew. Okay. All right, perfect. Thank you. Let me have a look at the chat a moment. Tundi. Oh, very interesting. Yeah, the tech. Venus in Aquarius. That makes sense. That makes so much sense for you then. Because Aquarius is very much about technology and innovation. And the second house is about money and income. So very, very interesting. Even, oh, okay. So office only 3 days a week, so still some flexibility. Ah, yeah. So you've been able to find something. Even that Venus in Aquarius in the second house, I do see as you valuing your freedom too. And that can even be the indicator of that self-employment. Okay, let me see who else has joined. Hello to the Enlightened Scapegoat. Thanks for joining. And the way that you book is down below. And Anna, you said about similar charts to Tundi. Okay. Thank you so much, Tundi. And now we're going to move on to Fola. Fola, hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. After these two, I am gonna call it an evening. So if you give me a minute, because we're going to be fully booked for this session, and I do appreciate everybody who has booked with me this evening. Let me know if you want me to come back tomorrow, even, because I could do that. I could do that if that works. But of course, too, if you would like a full reading with me, I have updated my services very recently. If you want to book a full reading with me, you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. Thank you. I hope that I have been able to guide you today. Bear with me. I am just saying that I'm fully booked for this one, and I will be right with you. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Fola, let's have a look at yours. And then it'll be Drew to finish. Double check spelling. And yep. This one, yes. Yes. Okay. Oh, hello to Byrne. Hello, welcome to you. And would I do human design chart readings one day? I want to learn more about it and really understand it. I have been getting a lot more into it, especially over the past few weeks, months. So possibly, Alexander. But hey, as a projector, I have to wait for the invitation. So let's see. Okay. Please give me a moment because I'm trying to grab other pieces of information that I need. And it was, I think, yeah. All right. Let's see. I am currently reading your question, Fola. Aries and Libra. Love. Attraction. Okay. Ground cross. Okay, let me have a look at transits here. Oh, Allender, you're a manifester. And you just invited, you guess. Okay. Well, thank you. And who knows? Maybe I will, but I definitely want to learn more about it before I do readings on it. Okay, let me have a look at your chart, Fola, and then we'll go from there. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so to touch on this grand cross influence, that is very interesting to see in your chart, Fola. It's almost like a part of you is being called to really do some deep, deep soul searching. To ask yourself, for example, what is it that you want? What is it that you want from love? What is it that you want from pleasure? And then it almost seems like you're being cracked open. A part of your emotional landscape is being really tugged, pulled, and brought to your attention, as if to say, look at this, look at this. And maybe a part of that process is tied to anything that's deeply rooted, within your subconscious. So when we think about your beliefs, what is the subconscious programming there? And especially thinking about how those maybe habits or patterns, they can often be at odds with being more analytical, being more rational, like thinking that, okay, this is the structure, this is the plan, this is how a relationship or how a situation should be. And then you sort of being hit with these realizations of, oh, it's this way, or I'm finding it difficult to connect maybe in more of an intimate way. But to speak to, okay, when we look to this Venus opposite the Jupiter influence, I am thinking that over the next coming days, weeks, right, because Mars will connect with this opposition, there's going to be a type of, it could be a breakthrough, it could be a realization, an epiphany, it could be something that you do away with, a particular behavior, a particular pattern, a habit, or it could be a case of you going, no, it's like, I'm no longer putting up with that, I'm no longer accepting that as a thing. And maybe also a part of this could be about patience. That's certainly coming through. Because, okay, okay. Because what I find interesting is Venus in Aries. If we were to think about Venus in Aries just in general, this can indicate that when it comes to love, relationships, attraction, there is a go-getter influence. It's like, right, okay, I like this person, I'm interested in this person, let's go for it. But Jupiter opposite sort of in a way balances this out, because what Jupiter opposite does is gets you to question, is this for me? Is this what I want? Are we aligned? Do we follow the same things, or are our principles aligned or morals aligned? But then equally, because it is an opposition, this can also feel a bit like it's the other, right? The other Libra that is going back and forth, or is undecided, or is sitting on the fence, or just isn't really sure. So again, this Mars influence that will eventually come and really it will really activate this opposition for you, right? I think that that particular activation can speak to more of this assertion, this self assertion of no, of I'm putting down a boundary here. And that within itself, I think, in some way, shape, or form, aligns even with the opposition that will happen to Saturn retrograde. Because what is it? I think Mars enters Libra tomorrow or the next day. And what will happen is there will be that opposition to Saturn retrograde and Neptune retrograde. So, in this way, this is going to be quite profound for you psychologically, to do with the boundary stuff. It's you coming to this strong point of, okay, this is my worth, this is my line, this is my boundary. But then also, this stuff is aligned more so with your spiritual needs, right? I mean, you do already have this Pisces rising, and the Pisces rising is 0 degrees. This is so potent, right? And what Pisces on the rising suggests with the 0 degree is that you can really show up in very like sensitive ways, or in ways where you feel everything all at once and it hits you, especially, with Saturn there conjunct it. Things can just feel like boom, just that's the kind of like sound, that the feeling I'm getting from this. It's that sort of confrontational energy of, wow, this is what people are about, or this is how their identity really gets to me, or how they come across gets to me. And you can just be shaken up, I think, by other people, and maybe by their inadequacies or their insecurities, or by what they might push on you or project onto you. So you can be big into going, like, that is just not, that's not right. That's not fair. I don't agree with that. So what I'm going to bring this back to is the opposition, like I mentioned, right, with Saturn opposite Mars. I think this could be a case of you not just sort of thinking about this or conceptualizing it, but you actually doing something about it. Doing. And that showing up within relationships, within the lives of others. Yeah. Another thing, though, I am going to mention too is, remember that by February of 2026, both Saturn and Neptune will move back into Aries, right? So, beginning of 2026, anyway, they'll both move back into Aries. And what will happen over the next coming months, year or so, is Saturn will really join up with this Venus influence. Eventually, so will Neptune. So we are seeing more to this story. This story isn't over. This is a story to do with your identity, to do with asserting yourself within relationships. This is a story to do with what you want in relationships. Even think about how Venus is making that trine to Mars in Leo. So even though there is this pressure point with the opposition to the transit Pluto, where there's the pressure point of all the subconscious programming stuff maybe coming up, I think also Venus can assist with this influence a bit by you coming back to, okay, well, what is it that I actually feel within my body, and what is it that I desire within my relationships? What do I really value within my relationships? When is it that I can, be so completely consumed or very intense, or I just rush in, or I don't realize even that I'm rushing in, but I give all so quick, and it's like, oh my gosh, I just get hurt and people are not who I thought they were. I just think this is about you coming to this place of really grand responsibility. Responsibility isn't the word. Maturity. There's so much wisdom that you're going to gain by knowing what really works for you slowly and steadily, and knowing what your pleasures are, what your desires are, and how you can slowly, steadily allow them to unfold, to come out, to take your time. There's something here about that slow and steady build that in the long run is going to be a lot more nourishing and a lot more supportive for you. Last thing I'm going to say for you is, do remember we have the Venus-Jupiter conjunction. That's going to come around about the 12th of August. So that's going to happen in your 5th house of romance and love. So I do think that can be a really insightful time for you, especially when we think about what your emotional needs are within relationships, what you can do to support yourself, even how you can ground yourself in the present more so, because there will be that sextile to the sun in Taurus too. Give me a moment, please. Moon. Mercury. Yeah, and okay, and then at the same time, whilst all of that is happening, the fairy ruler of your 7th house, Mercury, it will be direct. And what will happen is it will eventually join with Chiron. So there's also something pretty deep about your voice, about the stories you tell yourself to do with love. Oh, yeah. Even there is that square to your sun. I'm thinking about feeling unlovable, fearing desire, fearing closeness, fearing or that you'll be rejected, the abandonment stuff, the pain associated with the inner child, past rejections, past heartache. Yeah, there's going to be some conversations that will come up surrounding those types of patterns and themes, which within themselves can actually be really, really eye-opening for you. And we combine that with that whole conjunction in the 5th house. There's something very cleansing about that very process. Almost like this is about you nurturing yourself, really holding yourself and nurturing yourself through any big emotional waves that occur. Thank you, Fola. This is a mini reading, and so I do have to stop, but I hope that was helpful. Thank you. Okay, we have one more. We have Drew, and I want to say thank you, Drew, for booking. If you give me a moment, I need to gather your information. see. Well, it's been a Tuesday. Well, it is a Tuesday, and I am not used to going live on Tuesdays. Drew, time of birth. Time of birth. Okay, the latter. You said the latter. We're going to go with this time. We're going to use this time for your reading. Thank you. Let me double check. Do we have everything? I think we do. I think we do. Well, a lot of Scorpio moons are booking today. A lot of Scorpio moons. Also, to highlight everybody, these have been live mini readings, and if you would like a full reading with myself, you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. Thank you. And also, let me see. There's going to be a session of full moon and Aquarius readings coming this weekend, and I need to know if you want it to be on Friday or Saturday. All right. Let me read your question, please, Drew, and we'll go from there. Let me see. Let me look at the other birth time that you gave. So that's 2 hours. Right. What I've done here for you, Drew, is I'm basically showing one chart, and this chart is based on the 6:55 time, and I also have in front of me the 4:55 time. So basically within that range from 4:55 until 6:55, this could be more of the Virgo rising versus the Libra rising. Let me put it this way. Whenever you show up to new experiences, new situations, what is often said about you? Is it that you're often seen as a very relationship-oriented type of person? Or is it that you can come across as pretty social, friendly, you want to get along with everybody? Or can you come across as somewhat more reserved or a bit quieter? Or like you have a lot going on, almost like you have a lot to think about? There are certainly certain nuances to this. There are basically other things to consider, because equally with this Virgo rising influence, there's still that Venus quality to you with Virgo, right? The Virgo Venus. So I even then think about how quickly are you, because Mars is nearby too, how quickly are you to jump in and help other people? That's certainly a word that's coming through. It's help. Yeah, how quickly are you to jump in and help other people, and how often are you seen like that by others? And is it that people often tell you this? Is it that you often try to fix things for other people, resolve situations for other people? Even do you come across as someone who's quite studious, as someone who is quite knowledgeable, like, like people can learn a lot from you, or like you've done a lot of research, you've done a lot of reading, but then equally, I'm wondering, is it that you can come across as quite gracious and quite kind, but then equally you can be quite intellectual, quite intelligent as well. So there would be those kinds of differences to highlight there. But let's think about this more. Okay. Let me see. Work-wise, let's go with this. Work-wise, I'm wondering about the immensity of your roles, your projects, and how much you take on. I wonder about the severe changes tied to your finances, tied to your resources. So within this Libra rising chart, the midheaven is in Cancer, and then you've got all of the Scorpio in the second house. So the midheaven point is about how we're often seen in front of the public. Are you often seen as a caregiver? And I do understand that you said in your email that you are a stay-at-home dad. So that could very well align, with this caregiver influence. Yep, the caregiver influence with the midheaven in Cancer. And then equally with the moon in Scorpio conjunct Saturn, that can speak to your responsibility as a parent. And then because it's in the second house, that could speak to how you need to be very structured and responsible with your finances. But then also we see the changes, right? And the ways in which money can be a bit more challenging to keep up with because of having to support your family. But then there's also that strong resilience. There's also that strong determination with all of that Scorpio in the second. And then even the North Node is in Taurus. And that could very well speak to how a big part of your path, your trajectory in this life, well, it has been tied to supporting others. Maybe thinking about how you can gain other people's finances or sort out other people's finances. So there are strong themes to do with money, those patterns, those connections. Now, as for this other chart, though, I think, well, what's important to note is the Mercury in Gemini with Chiron. So then, is it, for example, that you have had to step away from your profession, step away from your career, maybe because of a health issue, because of a communication issue? Is it also possible here with Mercury in the third house and with all of this Scorpio in the third house that there have been major life changes to do with vehicles, transportation, to do with movement, and maybe there have been also some limitations and restrictions present there. And then I also think about you being seen by the public as a bit of a problem solver, as a healer, as someone who speaks on behalf of other people, right? It's almost as if to say you give other people a voice. So there's another thing to consider, more differences to consider. Let me look at this further. Let me see. I'm going to say a couple more things and then I'm going to be done with this particular reading. With Your job. So your job, your day-to-day routines. Remember, this is a mini reading, right? I could go on, but I have to cut it short at some point. Right. With your job, your day-to-day, your schedules, is it possible? So with the Libra stuff, we're going to focus on Libra. Is it possible that your daily routines are things that you find to be somewhat challenging to keep up with, maybe because it can feel like a never ending list, or it can feel like there's just not enough time in the day? Or is it that you often feel like you need time to refocus, to recenter, to meditate, to go within, to journal, to have a second to just recharge? Is that really a part of your day? Is that something that maybe you've been trying to actively work on over the past number of years with solid, healthy boundaries as Saturn has moved through your sixth house? But then with this Virgo influence, with Jupiter there, is it that when it comes to the day-to-day stuff, yes, okay, it's still full of a lot of many responsibilities, many tasks with Jupiter. Jupiter expands things, but there is a lot of change, a lot of change. So much change that it's like, oh my gosh, it's hard to keep up with. Or even with Pluto right now entering your sixth house, you're experiencing the pressure, you're experiencing the bite, but you're also experiencing this feeling of, no, I will accomplish this, I will get through this, I will take on the day. Maybe you're quite innovative, you like to experiment with new approaches, new strategies, you like to come up with your own sort of very unique methods. Maybe you also find that when it comes to the day-to-day stuff, you really try to think positive and you try to remind yourself of your gifts and what you can do. Maybe this is often something that you try to pass on to your children as well. And then the last thing I'm going to say, because I mentioned children, this is where we want to think about the fifth house. So let's see the differences between this Libra influence and the Virgo influence, because when we look to the Libra influence to begin with, it means that Jupiter is in Aquarius in the fifth. Your first child. Let's think about your first child. Is it that your first child tends to be very rebellious and marches to the beat of their own drum? Is very intellectual, very philosophical, will question things that just make you go like, how? Like, how did you question that? How did you come up with that? Is it that they really want to travel? Or is it that they come across as really friendly and they want to just have loads of friends and want to be a part of a community or a group, but they're also very independent? But then let's put this against the Virgo stuff with Neptune. So Neptune's in Capricorn in the fifth house in this particular chart. So then I question, is it that this first child is more into themselves? They're a lot more shy, reserved. They just prefer to sort of keep to themselves, maybe hide away a little bit. A lot of alone time is needed. They're very sensitive to things, sensitive to energies and other people. Maybe they're even quite business minded, right? They have like big dreams and big goals and big passions, and they really want to be successful. But equally, they also they need fantasy in their lives, right? They need a bit of fantasy. They need some type of escapism in their lives to help them recenter, to help them refocus. Yeah. One chart, I think, says that the first child is very adventurous, very daring, and just kind of goes out into life. But the other chart says that this child is not so outwardly adventurous, but is more dreamy and can be even adventurous in that way. yeah, one part, the first part could be more open and outward. The second chart can suggest more into themselves and they need their alone time. Hey, well, I tried my best. I tried my best. True. I hope that was helpful. Oh, you know what? I've never done that before. I gotta say, I've never done that before. It's not a service that I offer on my website. Yeah, it's not a service that I offer, but it was really interesting. That was interesting. Manage change and people needing help. Int- okay. Yeah. Well, amazing. Thank you, Drew, for sharing. And I hope that you're able to, align with whatever chart is really yours, and you can find that. It's always pretty validating whenever we know our birth time and we can see how the chart plays out for us. Well, everybody, this has been another live reading session with myself on a Tuesday. Yeah. I don't think I've ever done live readings on a Tuesday. Maybe I have. Maybe I'm just talking a load of crap. Who knows? Andrew, thank you. I'm really, really glad that you find it to be helpful. Listen, folks, if you would like to book a full reading with me, you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. And I want to say that tickets are going to be going on sale tomorrow for the Bali trip. So stay tuned for that. I will be posting about that. If anybody is interested in going May 2026, it would be amazing. And like I said, the poll is still up about the live reading session during the full moon in Aquarius. Let me know your thoughts. Appreciate you so much. Thank you, community. You're the best community, and it's always a pleasure to come on here and to do some readings. More content is coming, and I can't wait for you to see what's coming to Hannah's Elsewhere. Well, have a great Tuesday, everybody, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.